Now here's the no. Of course they believe us. Here's the toolkit before, and then after 15 minutes we end up with tool reinforcements. We have the tang box. You want to run through it, Eric, now?
Yeah, so we have a 3/8 drive, and then we have the spark plug set, 3/8 and a 1/2 inch.
And the rubber insert now.
The rubber insert. And we have the knuckle joints, 3/8. Then we have the extension, 3/8 as well. Then we have 3/8 up as far as 12 or 20.
22.
22 is it?
Yeah.
And then we have 1/2 inch drives, sockets. Then we have a 1/4 inch ratchet.
Yeah.
1/4 inch ratchet. We have the extended 1/4 inch fittings. And then we have a set of spanners up to 18, 19. So they'll have a ring and an open end. And then we have a swivel, which come in handy, 13 and a 12. So there, if you're in an awkward spot. Then we have a fitting for the smaller screws. So we have, what's that called again?
Posi drive.
Right, so we have posi drives and Phillips heads and flat heads, which all can fit into this. So we get stuck there. And we have the Allen key fittings there as well.
There we have a set of metric and imperial. Isn't it?
Yeah, the hex heads, is it? In our hex.
Yeah, hex or Allen, yeah.
Yeah. And that's about it.
Where are we now? Okay, right.
Okay.
We're going to just mount this temporarily on the blocks we have under the engine. So this is just a 12 volt 90 amp solenoid. I'm not going to use the one off the bike. That's that.
Now,
Right, so she's all mounted. So our plan is just, that's going to be battery live terminal. That one's going to be connected to the starter motor on the bike. We need to earth the engine, of course. So we're just using this car battery here. So we need to bring an earth strap from the engine, the bike engine, back to the battery. And this one here, this is just the low current section. It's just a push to make button. So all it does is bring battery live down to the solenoid activation terminal. So whenever we push this, the engine will crank. We're yoked up now, and you can see we have the battery live going on here, and then the wire to the starter motor on the bike is here, and then we have the body of the solenoid earthed. Now I was waiting on Eric to cop that I didn't do it, but it took him 2 minutes. So that has to be earthed. So now we're getting a click. So Eric, if you just give it a quick stab just to prove the point. So that's the bike turning over now. So what we want to do now is whip the plugs out and we'll do the compression test. And so in preparation for the compression test, we have to get the spark plugs out. So over to you, Eric.
Okay, we found the spark plug, but Matt wasn't too heavy. It was a little bit rusty. So we have 18 mil, and it has a rubber thing to grab the plug and the end of it. So, and a 3/8 drive.
Yeah.
So what we do is we'll just drop it onto the plug and just make sure it's sitting correctly, and then we can just open it. It's quite deep there, so
The rubber insert ain't doing its job.
No, it's not. She should. There we go.
Yeah,
There we
so
go.
the rubber insert's grabbing it there. Right, you might as well do the other one now you're on the roll.
Okay.
So the other one's there. Dead handy on the bench, but bit of a nightmare to do when the engine's in the bike.
Yeah, she's fitting there now. Yeah, this is the awkward one when it's in the bike.
So we don't want any compression in the engine, we want to push the engine over fast. Now when they say when you are doing it you should have your throttle wide open, but in this case it doesn't make any odds because the engine's on the bench and she has no carbs on, so there's no throttle to open. So you just have direct access for the air into the cylinders. Right, so like we said, there's nothing to restrict the throttle access, so the air just goes straight in. We have the plugs out. You'll hear her now, she'll turn over an awful lot faster, but we still kept a bit of tension on this here, so in case she jumps around the place, but she should be fine. So off you go, Eric.
Right.
We're just going to whiz her over, let you hear it first, and then right, so we have our compression tester in. Now it's a bit of a faff getting it in, and there's a sliding collar that we've no access to get it off again, but we'll worry about that in a few minutes. So we're in here now and we're all yoked up, so we're going to just let go of that pressure. So we're just going to have a look at the pressure as we crank it there now. Right, so give it 3 or 4 seconds, Eric. Off you go. Alright, that's grand. Now she's slightly below. So we look at the measurements there, she's reading about, what is it, 12 kilograms per centimetre squared. So we look here, you can sort of see she should be anywhere between 13 and 16 kilograms per centimetre squared. And she's only down at 12. Now that could be basically one of two things. The cylinder could be worn, or the valves could be leaking, or the valve clearance could be out. Now she was clattery when the engine was running, so that's what we're hoping for. But we're going to do, that was a dry test, so now we're going to do a wet test. We're going to put some oil into the cylinder, and if the oil improves things, it's sort of a bad sign. It's saying that the cylinder, the piston and the bore is worn. But if it doesn't improve, that's good news for us, in that it's probably the valves, leaky valves, or else the valve clearances are set wrong. So we'll see now. Now we have to have a little bit of a faff around with this thing here now, trying to get the the compression tester off.
Right here.
So we're going to do a wet test now. So this is our bogey cylinder. You can see there with the oil leak. So you can see from the dry test that the she is a bit low. So have you put any oil in that yet?
No, not yet.
Right, just give her a couple of squirts.
See when.
Yeah, ish. Right now, and we're just gonna whiz it over. We'll whiz it over slightly longer this time, is to give that oil to get distributed, because you can see the cylinder is at an angle, so all the oil will lie over one side. Right, okay. So we're going to give it a couple of whizzes, let the oil distribute, and we're going to whiz it for longer, because we want to see if the compression comes up. So I'm just going to exhaust that out of the gauge. Right, go on, off we go. And stop. So you can see there she's gone up to 14 kilograms per square centimetre. So it looks like we have some sort of a compression issue, which means, you know, head gasket or something. Hopefully head gasket, because she wasn't making smoke or anything like that. But there's where we're going for this one now. It's very fiddly getting the adapter in. But right, one off you go, right? The trick is, it's just to get it entered, get it standing up straight, and then be very careful screwing it in. You know, like don't put any excess force in case you damage the threads in the head. That looks good. How does that feel?
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah, yeah. Looks good.
Right.
Yeah, it's gone tight there. So just give it a squeeze with your hand.
Hand tight.
Yeah. So
Is that hand tight?
yeah, you just push that on now. You'll hear it click. There you go. And just bring the gauge up where we can see it. Right.
There.
So we're going to exhaust that. Okay. Right, off you go, Eric, do the crank. Right, stop. Right, okay, there's a bit of a turn up. 10, she's at 10. Yeah, so now we're going to do the wet test. So off you go, Eric, give it a couple of squirts. You see oil going in there, yeah?
Yeah. There you go.
Right. Okay, and then we're ready to repeat. So if you want to horse back in the adapter. And sorry, my
She's
mistake.
in, all right,
My mistake. Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Right, and she's clicked in. Right. And okay. Right. So I'm just gonna let go of that, and I'm going to give it a whiz over. Give it a couple of seconds.
Say when.
Yeah, off you go. Okay. Yeah, so that's improved it. She's gone up to 14. She's gone up to 14 on the wet test. So, well, so that's sort of indicating, well, possibly there's wear on the bore. Yeah. Yeah, it's more or less saying that she is improving rapidly on the wet test. So, not a great sign, but yeah, we'll see when we get down. Right, our next move is then, we reckon we can access the valves here, check the clearance. So these two covers have to go. So we're going to do it on this cylinder first, because this one is now proven very low on compression. So we're going to clean around here. We don't want any of that stuff going down into the engine, and clean around there, and then take it off. Right, you want to take over there with that?
Good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. We just want to get rid of all the crud around the joint, so that when you do take it off, there's nothing going to get into the engine. I want to sound up mushy coming off.
Just wasn't tight, was it?
Just give that a... There she goes.
This one probably needs a little screw.
I said just give it a little box.